Welcome to the Business Leaders Legacy Podcast, the show where we go behind the scenes with business leaders to uncover their vision, strategies, and challenges they face along the way. My name is Chris Bruner. I'm the CEO of Simple AI Solutions and the host of today's podcast. I'm excited to introduce Thomas Fitzgerald, the founder and owner of Voyager Plumbing, with a perfect 5 out of 5 star rating on and rapidly growing in this tough San Diego market. Thomas, can you introduce yourself and tell our listeners a little about you, your business, and the customers you serve?
All right. Thanks, Chris, for having me on. Yeah, so I mean, I've been in plumbing for about I think it's like 7 or 8 years now. I started my business like 3.5 years ago. Um, and yeah, we primarily do residential service plumbing. And right now we have about 5 trucks on the road. Um,
Yeah. No, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, it's cool to see you guys growing over the last couple of years. So as the owner, what part of the business do you find most involved in day to day? Do you spend a lot of your time out in the field, managing the team, steering growth, or a combination of all?
I mean, there's so much stuff. I feel like um, just because we're still we're smaller, so we're not like really big yet, where I've been able to fully step back. So, right now we have kind of like how my business structure is we have two like main salesmen, and then we have two install crews. So each install crew is like a plumber with an apprentice. And then I have my office manager who, answers all the phones and does all the dispatching and scheduling and all that stuff. And and then me kind of as like, you know, kind of as like a salesman, kind of like managing everyone at the same time, kind of doing a lot of stuff every day, but every day is different. I feel like for the most part, like if we get really, really busy in a particular day, I have to go out and I have to go, run jobs and not actually doing the work as much anymore, which I'm thankful for, but I mean, I still am like hands-on, like having to sell and sometimes diagnose and, do that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like you wear plenty of hats.
Yeah.
What part of running your business is most motivating? What's most exciting to you? What do you enjoy the most?
I mean, I would say probably just the freedom that comes, in owning a business. I mean, that's kind of why everybody starts a business, right? Is they want their freedom and they want to make money. I mean, if anybody else says anything different, they're lying to you. So, I mean, that's why I got into business. I want to make more money and I want to have more freedom. So,
Yeah. Yeah. No, that is very true. That is very true. Shifting a little bit to trends within the industry. There's smart technology coming out all the time, and I'm wondering if you are seeing any of, smart technology within plumbing, maybe leak sensors or water monitoring, right? Or something like that. Are you seeing any smart features within the plumbing industry right now?
I mean, I would say a really big one as far as like devices, that's come out is there's like a device that this company makes that basically like installs onto like the main water shut off of your house, and it you can like monitor everything from your phone. But like if you ever have a leak, it'll actually shut your water off for you. And so I think a lot of, especially like in California, just because everything that happened with like the fires and just insurance market is tough right now. A lot of insurance companies are actually starting to require homeowners to have this device because there's so many like flood loss claims. And so I've kind of noticed that a lot of them are requiring people to have it, and if not, they're just dropping them. So that's
Yeah.
like one big thing that I've seen like heavy in the last like year, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. It totally makes sense with everything that's happened with the fires and all that stuff.
Hmm.
Um, Shift in a little bit again. I'd like to talk about where you're at with your business, the current state of your business. What has been the biggest win for Voyager Plumbing, over this last year or couple months or whenever?
I mean, I would say the biggest win, yeah, I mean, we've grown a lot. I mean, I definitely have grown a lot. I would say over the last like 6 months, I would say like the biggest win has probably been like marketing. Because that's sorry. That's probably like one of the hardest things that I've experienced is I mean, the biggest challenge is marketing your business. And I feel like the last 6 months that we've like made some like really, really good progress on the marketing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, no, that can definitely I can see how it can definitely be a challenge, and it's cool to see you guys really taking advantage of that and using it to grow. On the flip side, what has been maybe some challenges you have been facing?
Yeah, I would say probably the biggest challenge that we have faced probably in the last year would be marketing. Um, and that's why I say the last year, because the last 6 months we finally made some like really good progress, but um, mainly because, a lot of, in my experience, with the residential plumbing's, whatever service industry, there's a lot of marketing companies that are really, really good at selling themselves, and they're not really good at getting you like leads and getting your company's like brand and name out there. So that's been a big challenge, just because like when you bring a marketing agency on, you have to like minimum you have to give them like 3 months. And
Yeah.
even still with 3 months, like depending on like what kind of marketing they're doing, that's not really that much time to really see much traction. So it's like a really long process of like, okay, let me try you out. I try you out for 3 to 6 months, and if you suck, then cool. I just lost 3 to 6 months of potential growth. If I
Mhm.
lost money, then on top of that, I didn't even make my money back. So that's been my biggest like battle I feel like since I've started is the marketing and finding an agency that I can trust. And mainly just because um they have a business too. I mean, that's their business too, and people don't I don't think people realize like they're a business too, and they're also trying to make money, so you're the one they're making money off of.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. Yeah, it's cool to see how your biggest challenge turned into your biggest success. And so that's really neat. Um, how do you measure success within your business? Is it based on growth, revenue, service area expanding? How do you measure success?
I mean, I don't know, it's kind of tough, right? I mean, I would say like probably like at the end of the day, like how much money are you making really, like, and like what's your profit margin? Because I mean, you could have, a $10 million company, and if you're not making any money, then like, I mean, I wouldn't say, I would rather have a $5 million company that I'm profiting, $1 million a year compared to having a $10 million company that I'm not profiting, or
Yeah.
if I'm profiting the same amount, like I think I would rather have the $5 million company just because it's less headache, less stress, less risk.
Hmm.
Um, I would say that's probably like the biggest thing I would measure it by, but I don't know. That's a tricky one.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. But that is so true. It really kind of boils down to how profitable is the company.
Hmm.
Um, you'd mentioned marketing and just kind of wondering when it comes to finding new business, what do you guys do? What is your approach?
So there's a lot of things that we do. Um, so for you want me to break down the whole thing?
You do a brief overview if you want. As much
Well,
detail,
I mean,
as much or little detail as you're comfortable sharing.
I don't care. I could share detail. I mean, I don't really care. So, I mean, the biggest thing for marketing, particularly for plumbers, like service plumbers that are doing residential plumbing, is going to be Google sponsored ads. Those are the kind of like the main source of like get me leads because it's the fastest way to get leads
Hmm.
because you could, like ramp up your budget and get leads like within a few hours. The only part with that is it's the most expensive way to get leads, and there's a lot of really big companies in San Diego that are also doing it. So
Yeah.
it's a tough one. You have to have a good agency, and then you also have to have really good, employees that, they know like what to do with that lead and be able to produce revenue. So I would say Google, I mean, that's like the king right now, especially for plumbing and like HVAC companies. And then there's lots of other stuff, like your website, SEO, like trying to rank organically so you're not paying for it. Um, Sending out direct mailers, like actually that's actually like old school, but it's actually like really successful like marketing campaign that we've had. And I've talked to a lot of other business owners and they've also had a lot of success with that too. So I'd say those are like our two main sources right now.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah. It's definitely it definitely is challenging in today's market. I feel like there's always things changing. Google's always changing their algorithm and yeah, I could see how it could definitely be get pretty pricey, especially when competing with those bigger companies. I wanted to shift a little bit to the where your company is heading. And so looking ahead, what's your vision for Voyager Plumbing? Where do you want to be 6 to 12 months from now? You aiming for like a bigger team, more service area, or something different?
Yeah, I mean, I would say like, 6 to 12 months from now, I'll just say a year from now, like end of next year. Well, as far as our service area goes, we pretty much serve like all of San Diego County already. It's kind of just like you have to do that, because there's lots of other companies that'll do it. And San Diego is so like, the farthest you could drive and you're still in, I mean, you could drive to Oceanside and you could be there in like less than an hour, so
Yeah.
like that, I mean, that's a pretty big service area. Um, but yeah, I would definitely say like growth for sure. I mean, right now, like I said, we have 5 trucks. I'm actually picking up my sixth truck today, and I would say like by the end of next year, my goal is to be around that like 10 to 12 truck range. It was 10 by the end of this year, and I'm a little short of that. So next year I should definitely have that. I mean, it'll probably shoot for more, but I'll be happy if I end up with in that range. So, and then just kind of, making everything, more efficient, just making everything more profitable. That's pretty much my goal.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes sense. And if resources weren't a constraint, what's one big initiative you'd like to roll out throughout this year? Right? I don't know if it's making, yeah, just
Hmm. If resources weren't an issue, I mean, so honestly, man, I know a lot of people in the plumbing industry that want to come work for me, and that's kind of just how it is. Like everybody knows each other. So I think if resources weren't an issue, I'd probably go buy like 5 to 10 vans right now, and I would have enough people to fill those 5 to 10 vans like right now, and I would just ramp up my marketing and
yeah,
but it's a little hard to do that. I mean, mainly just because just cash flow. I mean, it's like we could get the work. It's just like trying to get to that point. You have to like do it cautiously because if you run out of like it's not even that if you're not making money, it's like if you just don't have enough cash on hand and you have like expenses, like, sometimes like jobs can go a couple weeks and you haven't gotten paid. And, if you have enough of that, and you have like two or three or $400,000 like out, then it just stuff just becomes difficult. So that's kind of like why I've like slowed down my growth. So, but yeah, if resources weren't an issue, that's probably what I would do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, that is yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see how everything affects each other and how it yeah, that makes sense. So if there was a way where you mentioned leads earlier, right? If there is a way to consistently generate, these high quality leads without spending a ton of time or research or a ton of time or out. I'm gonna redo that one. I'm gonna cut that out. um, so if you had a way to consistently generate high quality leads without spending a ton of time on outreach, how would that impact your business?
Without spending a ton of time or money,
A ton of time.
a ton of time. I mean, it just allows me to have time elsewhere, focusing on other areas of the business. I mean, that's at this point I've kind of realized like, and you've seen, I mean, it's been hard for me to get on this, just like my time is valuable and I have a lot of stuff to do and like a year ago like I didn't have as much stuff to do, so I wasn't like as crunched for time and having two little kids too and so um yeah, just more time. I would say that's the biggest thing, which whatever that looks like in other areas of my business or for my family, or
Yeah.
friends. So,
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Well, Thomas, thank you for coming out today and sharing your insight. I've really appreciated the conversation. Before we close, could you tell our listeners a little about where they can find you, where they can look up Voyager Plumbing, just where they can see you?
yeah, I mean, if you're in San Diego, you just search Voyager Plumbing and we'll pop up for sure. On like Google or mainly Google's where we do all of our advertising. So, or Yelp, we're on Yelp as well. But yeah, if you just search Voyager Plumbing, you'll find us. So we're
Yeah.
based out of El Cajon, but we service all of San Diego.
Yeah, awesome. Well, to close, I'd like to ask one last question since this is the Business Leaders Legacy podcast, and you, as a business leader, the founder, owner of Voyager Plumbing, what kind of legacy do you want to leave behind?
Hmm. I mean, I go back and forth with, wanting to, like build like a really, big company, have like 50 or 60 trucks. I go back and forth between that and then I go back and forth with honestly like getting to a certain point and just selling it and getting into something else. But I mean, I would say like the legacy that I would want to leave is, I mean, kind of just having something to pass down to my kids, like, I mean, growing up, I didn't have any of that stuff. I didn't have an inheritance or anything like that. And I mean, the Bible says, like we're supposed to leave inheritance for our kids' kids. So I think that's kind of like what I'm aiming for, is trying to build like some generational wealth just because we didn't have any of that on my side of the family. So that's kind of my goal.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's a honorable goal. Well, thank you, Thomas. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your insight, your time, sharing about your business. To all the listeners out there, again, this is the Business Leaders Legacy Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and thank you for watching.